Hello, hello, and welcome to class 4 of Charm School. This charm stands for Creativity for Healing, Authenticity, and Radical Magic, and it's really like creativity coaching to help you value your creative side and express yourself more and engage more in the artistic process. If you're wondering why this matters, why you should care about this, if you're just joining me, then I encourage you to check out the first videos and actually all the videos that have come before because we really get into the activism of it all, the mental well being and the physical health of it all, and the spiritual component of it. So if you're curious like why this matters, go check that out and catch up with us and then join me back here. So last class I told you to make an altar in honor of your newfound or newly honored creativity. And I want to know like how that went, how did you do? And I want to talk today too about making space and what needs to be cleared away. So we're talking about space and the environment and creating a space where you can look at it and be reminded of your intention. You might put some inspiring pieces on there, some pictures, some spiritual stuff, some stuff from nature, whatever resonates with you and just kind of speaks to that creative, nonverbal side of you. But for some of you, a really sacred and important act might be to just have a space that has nothing on it. Your altar can be empty, and that's just as beautiful because often we have way too much clutter, both mentally and in our environments, that really stifles the creative process. So today's theme is about clearing away. What needs to be cleared away in your psyche? What needs to be cleared away physically in your environment? And what needs to be cleared away off of your schedule? What needs to be cleared away in your mind as far as excuses and negative beliefs? So when I say in your psyche, I'm talking about like healing the old wounds about people who said you couldn't be creative or shouldn't be or weren't good at it or whatever. Forgiving yourself if you abandoned yourself in your creative process. Clearing away excuses and just not being available for them. All that shit about how I don't have time, I don't have room, I don't have materials, whatever. Like, get really determined to just chuck that, be unavailable for it, and just say, I'm making my art no matter what. And then look at your environment too. And so I encourage people to like clean up their space, make it inviting to make your art. I struggled so much because I would just leave my desk an unholy mess. And then, of course, every time I looked at it, I was just like, ugh, and like wanted to look away. I certainly didn't want to make art there. So be really clear. If every time you go through your paints, you're coming across shit that's like dry or almost gone, like get rid of that and get new stuff if you need it, or just really appreciate the quality stuff that you have left. Do this with markers, pens, pencils. Get rid of the repeats, the stubs, the ones that are broken. That colored pencil that's been dropped, and so every time you sharpen it, the lead just falls out and you can't get it to work? Get rid of it. Honor yourself. If all you had left was one quality pen, that's way better than hanging on to like 10 things that kind of work or aren't satisfying to work with. So, a great way to explore this concept is to make some art that has to do with subtracting an element. So, you might want to, well, actually, first, let me have you focus on an exercise where you're drawing what needs to be removed. So we've had this exercise kind of where we're talking about drawing a feeling or drawing a specific mood. Now I'd like you to think about what's blocking you from being creative, from expressing yourself in an artistic fashion, and what needs to go, and what does that look like? And challenge yourself to draw that and put that on a page. You might consider drawing like individual pieces if it's got a lot of components to it. You might imagine drawing the empty space and what you'd like to put in there instead. And then I want you to do a practice where you are creating some kind of art through removal. So in my last class, I had a gal who laid tape down and then painted. And then when she lifted the tape off, it was these clean lines of open space. So that was really beautiful. I've done charcoal drawings where you actually cover the whole page in graphite or charcoal, and then you use your eraser to create and lift out the negative space or the white space there. So it's just a really great way to get your brain thinking in different ways. Usually for those of us who do practice with drawing or painting and we're creating an image that exists in real life, we are used to just like drawing the outline and drawing the elements of it. And so flipping that kind of on its head and imagining like, what do I have to take away to help this image reveal itself can be really great training. And just not even training, but just like a practice that gets your brain working in a different way, that sparks your creativity, and that ripples out into your whole life. Like, again, going back to the beginning of why this matters, when we're challenging our brains and prompting them to be more creative and to look at stuff differently, we are able to do that in our whole lives. So if we have any problems, which, hello, if you're human on this planet, there are going to be some problems and some issues, and you're much more likely to handle them in a better way if you can think about them differently, if you can roll them around in your mind, if you can get creative, or if you're having an outlet where you're expressing yourself somewhere else, you're going to come to your daily life recharged, refreshed, more confident, more happy, all these things. But again, that's all in video 1, so check that out. So yeah, another way you might play with this concept is through carving something, carving out. You can do tiles, like if you were going to make a stamp, you can do it on wood. Wood burning kind of counts, although that is adding a mark, but it's kind of taking away the untouched wood. You might play around with paper and cutting things out. Look for paper cutting stuff. That's so cool, where you're just cutting out what you need. Scratch boards are awesome for this. They're black, and then you scratch off what you don't want, and the white shows through, and that looks dope. It's got really great texture too, which I love. You might play with paint, just like laying a bunch of paint and then lifting it off with a rag or something like that. So play around with this, and the idea is taking away what's not essential, taking away what doesn't belong to let the image reveal itself. And then consider how that concept could play out in your life. So this one's nice and short and sweet, but consider making space and clearing stuff away that no longer needs to be there. And I will see you next time. Thanks for being here. Bye.